Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content for tonight, we're just going to file it under abject idiocy. That's what we're going to file it under. The Republicans in Michigan just literally made one of the most fundamental mistakes when you are trying to convey your point. This is something you're all going to need to see, and a really good example of what not to do in the future when you're arguing for gun rights. Everything's going to be linked in the description box below, and I cannot wait to hear from you guys on this one. And if you are new or you're a returning viewer, please hit that like button, consider hitting that subscribe button, and turning that notification bell on. We need as many people as we can to get into the fold, to spread out this information, to help pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation. Thank you so much for that consideration, and my brothers and sisters, we have got to talk about this, because I don't know whose decision this was, but this was incredibly unwise. Let's just put it that way. So, before I show you what's in question and what the Michigan Republicans did, I'm going to lay out a little backstory of where we're at in Michigan. So right now, Michigan is under the boot of 3 different proposals put forward by Gretchen Whitmer around gun control. Universal background checks and universal licensing. You've got red flag laws, and you have safe storage laws. That's what you have on the table right now. Now, the interesting part about this is the Democrats can lose 1 seat, 1 vote, and they don't get any of them. That's how close of a margin this is. So, the Republicans took to their Twitter and their Facebook pages, and they decided to really make a statement. And this is the important piece. What I'm about to show you that they did is rooted in historical fact. It is not incorrect. However, you have to understand the impact of your messaging and what you're doing when you do this. Check this out. So first, I'm not going to show you the controversial part. I'm just going to read you the tweet because this sounds pretty innocuous. History has shown us that the first thing a government does when it wants to total control over its people is to disarm them. President Reagan once stated, quote, "If we lose freedom here, there is nowhere else to escape to. This is the last stand on earth," end quote. That is correct on all accounts. Here's what they put on the tweet. Now, of course, like I said in the introduction, this is rooted in fact. The terrible things that this image is referencing could not have happened had the German government not taken firearms from their population. If they had not been disarmed, the German people would not have been defenseless. That's all German people. Okay? Now, here's the thing. That is directly accurate historically, but it completely is tone deaf to what you're trying to do. You are trying to get one Democrat to peel off so you can hold the line for the gun rights of Michiganders across the entire state. You put something out like this, and the headlines go from what the Democrats are trying to do and infringe on your rights to this, and this is the important piece that someone doesn't seem to understand. Michigan GOP slammed for comparing gun reform to Holocaust. Michigan GOP faces backlash for tweet tying gun reform to Holocaust. Michigan GOP attempts to tie gun reforms to Holocaust, faces backlash. You have successfully managed to make the point around your response to their infringements instead of on their infringements. The media is already waiting for something for you to mess up. You just gave them everything that they wanted. They don't need to talk about universal background checks anymore. They don't need to talk about red flag laws. They don't need to talk about anything that they want to push in Michigan right now. All they have to talk about is how insensitive you are, how unwise you are, and how you just made it about your response and not the infringement. Who is running this? It kills me, but let's keep going. I'm going to show you what the Democrats are doing, because I've said multiple times on this channel, Democrats are wrong on their approach to the Second Amendment. They infringe consistently. That doesn't make them stupid. Listen to this. Quote, "Comparing gun safety measures to the mass extermination of 6 million people is hateful and ignorant, and it comes from party leaders who are out of ideas and catering to the fringe of the fringe," Democratic U.S. Rep. Alyssa Slotkin, who is Jewish, wrote on Twitter in response. You just gave her the talking points to push everything that she wants over the line, which will infringe upon Michiganders now and in the future going forward. Red flag laws are incredibly unconstitutional. They completely bypass due process. They take your rights without a trial. There's lots of reasons it's a problem. Universal background checks and safe storage laws all require registries in order to enforce them. These things are terrible. But instead, you made it about your response. You didn't make it about what they were doing. This is basic communication. Okay, let's keep going. Let me show you what it should have looked like. This is a really good post. On Facebook, The Michigan GOP's account specifically criticized the, quote, extreme risk bills, also known as red flag law policies. Quote, no good can come from a disarmed population, and our constitutional rights to defend ourselves against a corrupt and tyrannical government are now being violated by unconstitutional red flag laws, the party's Facebook post said. Okay, so now I'm going to do something really simple. Good, bad. Good, bad. This is not anything beyond incredibly ignorant move from the GOP in Michigan. You literally just gave them every reason to rally behind your response rather than defend their unconstitutional actions. This is 101. This is not difficult. It's so frustrating. But let me show you what else they're doing, because again, you've given them everything that they need. Lansing. The Michigan Republican Party's official social media accounts made misleading posts Wednesday to try to connect Democrat-backed gun proposals to the Holocaust, spurring criticisms from both sides of the political aisle. Let me show you how they're framing their points now. Democrats are advancing bills in the state legislature this month to expand background check requirements for firearm purchases and to mandate the safe storage of guns in homes where children are present. The package of proposed laws would also allow for extreme risk protection orders, permitting a court to temporarily remove weapons from someone's home if they are deemed a threat to themselves or others. They are now couching it from a position of a reasonable approach. They show you what you just did in an unreasonable approach and a measure of extremity. Even though it is a correct assessment of what happened historically, that doesn't mean you have to put it up on your Facebook page as a main reason to why you should not vote for these things. You just gave them the rallying cry to push against you. This is so incredibly frustrating. This is communication 101. And seriously, someone in Michigan needs to talk about this because, wow. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.